John Helsey here in Irving, Texas with Barry Tramel from the Oklahoman and News OK. Barry, day 2 of Big 12 Media Days, Oklahoma, Texas. As always, a popular conversation when the Oklahoma Sooners are in town.
That's exactly right. Everybody wanted to ask Bob Stoops about Texas, the game coming up, the big tiebreaker controversy from last year. Bob did a pretty good job of avoiding any landmines, although by the end of the day, I guess he'd had enough questions, and he referred to the fact that if Texas wants to keep flying the score of the OU-Texas game, he's going to fly the score of the Texas Tech game. So he had about all he could take of those questions, but all in all, very interesting day. It's going to be a very huge build-up to that game in October, Oklahoma, Texas, on the minds of everyone here in Irving.
That's a big game, obviously. The Sooners coming off a loss in another big game in the BCS championship game. How did you find Bob Stoops' mood to be today? I'm sure that was another popular topic of conversation.
It's good and solid. He was very good with the media. Had a lot of fun things to say. Talked extensively, for instance, about Bill Snyder, his return to college football in Kansas State. Bob, he was asked how this compares the rebuilding job Bill Snyder faces today with the rebuilding job Bill Snyder faced at Kansas State in 1989 when he took over, and Bob Stoops was part of the staff. Bob laughed quite a bit at that question, said it's not comparable. Everything was wrong with K-State football 20 years ago, so did a little reminiscing, which was good, and talked a lot about the offensive line and what he expects out of that line and how it needs to come through for this team to be the championship squad he expects. But all in all, Bob Stoops, I thought was he was in a very good mood.
3 players here today: Sam Bradford, of course, Heisman Trophy winner; Gerald McCoy; Jermaine Gresham. Those guys all seem to really be loose and enjoying the moment, I thought.
Well, Bradford seemed to do a lot of smiling today. A lot of times he doesn't smile a lot around the media, but he was fairly comfortable, and I think this is a prime Oklahoma season. There's a bunch of playmakers back, bunch of stars back, bunch of expectations. I think these guys revel in that. These are 3 guys that could have turned pro, decided not to. Came back for another year, and it's it looks like a loaded Oklahoma season.
The coaches poll, Barry, is always a controversial topic. Who votes? This year, they're not going to reveal their votes until the end. Bob Stoops was asked about that today, and perhaps his participation. What did we find out? Well,
Bob said he's going to vote. Had to sort of pry it out of him, but he's going to vote in the coaches poll. He sat out last season trying to make a point. He said there's no reason to make a point 2 years in a row, so he's going to vote. Last year, I think he felt a little foolish in November when it came down to the controversy, and Mack Brown had a vote and Bob Stoops didn't. So he's going to go back and take the vote this year, and had a few suggestions for how the poll could be improved. He says let every coach vote. Every coach in America votes, and then the top 15 or 20 teams in America, their votes get thrown out. So he's at least thinking about the process, but it's a process that he's going to be involved in this season.
3 other teams here today: Baylor, Missouri, and Kansas. Talk about, if you would, the excitement around the Baylor Bears.
Well, Robert Griffin, a superstar quarterback, a guy that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's happening at Baylor with Robert Griffin. Art Briles, a very engaging coach. A lot of reason for optimism because of those 2 guys at Baylor.
Do you ever remember so much excitement and people interested in the Baylor Bears as there has been this season?
Not in the Big 12 era. In the Grant Teaff era, yes. Baylor went to 3 Cotton Bowls in the Grant Teaff era, Southwest Conference champions, but not since then. Baylor's been the doormat of the Big 12. Not so this year. Not even picked last in the Big 12 South.
All right. What else struck you today with the other 2 teams?
Well, I'm always struck by how small Todd Reesing is, the Kansas quarterback. He's like 5'10". I don't have any idea how he gets the job done. He does get it done. I just don't know how. When you see him in real life, he looks like a student manager or something, but just a wonderful player. Always good to see him live and be reminded how small he really is. Missouri Tigers, Gary Pinkel is no nonsense. It's a big year for Missouri. Chase Daniel is gone. Jeremy Macklin is gone. Can this team continue to contend? They've won 2 straight North titles. If Missouri is good again, you have to say that the rebuilding job is complete and that Missouri is a perennial Big 12 North power.
All right, that'll wrap up day 2 here, Big 12 Media Days. Day 3 tomorrow, we have another fun team to follow tomorrow, the Texas Longhorns, Barry.
Always fun when Mac Brown comes in.
All right, stick with us, newsok.com and in the Oklahoman.